Hello again, it's Paul Marsden here with you, just to talk about some more things about this COVID situation and the lockdown we're all going through right now. And I mentioned before things about getting your day in order, ordering your day and doing some satisfying things and developing some new habits and breaking old ones and setting good resolutions for yourself, and also time for yourself and time for others. And time for others I want to focus on now, because I want to talk about kindness and practicing kindness during the day. Really important thing to do, just be kind to people, because Plato, even Plato, way back in the 4th century BC, famous old guy, said all sorts of really famous things. Well, we think he did. Somebody else wrote all the stuff down that he said. He wasn't writing much himself, but he had things written written down by other people. But he said that be kind. He said, be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. That's the 4th century BC. He said that, and it's true. Everybody you meet has something going on in their life somewhere that you will know nothing about. They might never even tell you about this stuff. It could be a battle with their family, with their health, with their job, their boss or something, or some battle with the electricity company or something, but something that they're working on that's worrying them, that's taking up their conscious time, that they're anxious about in there. And we all have that kind of stuff going on there. Some people have a lot of it, some less of it, but we all have some battle with somebody or someone as part of our life. So Plato said, be kind, for everybody you meet is fighting a hard battle. And that's true. So just remember that when you meet people. They've got their own stuff going on there. And so kindness is important, doing stuff kind for people. And we know from the research on this, there's a hormone called oxytocin in our system. It should be called the hug hormone. And hugging is kind of rare these days because of all this social distancing and so on. But when you hug somebody, you release a burst of that in them and they in you. And that kind of closeness and that comfort from people is a great thing to have. We don't have much of that these days because of the whole lockdown stuff and the distancing stuff and this type of stuff and people cocooning and all this carry on going on. And because of that, we don't have much of that, and we need to somehow build up more of that. That's where social contact is really good to have these days, and the more you can, the better. And there's a kindness element built in there. Do it, because we hear in papers and research reports and so on about loneliness, how it's escalating around the place, both in young people and in older people. The young people seem to be constantly in communication. They're all the time on the phones, talking to somebody and somebody else talking to them, and using all these Instagrams and Snapchats and WhatsApps and all this kind of stuff. Yet they still report very high levels of loneliness, because we know, again, not just from research, we know this fact from ourselves, the best kind of contact is the real face-to-face human contact with somebody that you can have. And because of the situation, we can't have that as much these days. And this kind of just a dim and distant kind of version of it is the kind of online contact. But it's the best we can have these days. It's all we can have, but still using that is great. If it's all we have, then that's not good. So some physical contact is really good to have during the day, because we can't, it's difficult to get it these days. But if we can, please get that from somewhere. People go to shops sometimes just to see people. I've heard some people over the years just going to shops just to meet somebody, to say hello to somebody who works in a shop, or somebody who's talking to somebody in a shop. I often go over there to Tesco. Well, I used to in the good old days when you could go to these places more often and have a look around. You see people there, older people often, just going there just because, as they often would tell me, it's the only chance during the day they have to meet and talk to another human being. And there are people out there who just have that as part of their lives. They might meet the postman or the postwoman during the morning, that's the only contact they have, or someone delivering something to the house, that's all the contact they have. Or they go to Tesco, go to the shop, or go somewhere just to talk to another human being. That's the only contact they have. And so I talk to staff over there sometimes when I'm in Tesco the odd time, and just reinforce to them, the ones I know very well, just how important their role is. They're not involved in social work, but they're doing just as good as some social workers can do. And we know that social work, psychology is packed up these days with requests for all sorts of things, a big backlog of people waiting for treatment there. But even just going to Tesco, just to remind staff there how important their job is, and just talking to people, making them feel welcome, giving them a laugh, that will lighten their day amazingly. As I say to you, also greeting people going your walk. But again, just every day, as part of your structure of the day I mentioned earlier, just a part of your day, have a time when you're going to talk to somebody. So lift the phone and talk to somebody for 5 minutes. Find out how are you going, did you get over that little dose you had, how are you doing, how is the hip. And I have friends who've had hip replacements and hip things done recently. I check with them, how are you doing, are you getting your few steps in every day, you're getting back to normal. And that makes their day that little bit lighter. And if you can do that, every so often, every day, once or twice a day. And you might think, I'm not ringing her, she wouldn't ring me, but the ball has to start rolling from somewhere. So you start the ball rolling by ringing somebody. It'll probably cost you nothing, so ring them and keep that there, and that'll make a huge difference for their day. You wouldn't know how to lift them up in all sorts of ways. So that kind of contact is really important. If you have elderly neighbours, you know, they're locked in there, it's almost like they're imprisoned in their houses who can't get out, because they're quite, and again, they're hearing news programmes, they're quite frightened by all this kind of stuff. I tell them, get the news in the morning, news in the evening, and leave it at that. Don't be getting news all day, because they are terrified by the news and won't even open the door, this kind of thing, of the house. So they're kind of locked into the house there. They get no exercise. Even prisoners get exercise outside in the yard, but they don't get that kind of stuff. So they're locked in there. So give them a call, give them a text, and say that they're okay, and look in on them, or even wave going past. We hear, I mentioned before a number of times, that time for yourself is important every day. But in this whole kindness and loneliness epidemic, other time is equally important. So time for just other people there. And you don't know what that little contact will do for somebody else. I've had that said to me, I'm sure it's been said to you, that comment from you, that call from you, that card from you made such a difference to me. It really, really helped me. And just doing that for somebody will help them in all sorts of strange ways. And if you can lift that person's burden by even 1 or 2 ounces every day, and you won't know you're even doing that, that'll be a great thing you can do for them, and they won't forget that. Sometimes you might need a burden lifted from you, and a call from them will do the same thing. And the whole COVID thing has brought out that an awful lot more. People are doing this a lot more with one another, so it's time to do even more of it now. So make a resolution today that today you will ring somebody. You might not talk to them for 6 months or something. Give them a buzz, give them a text, reopen that communication channel and get talking to them, and that'll make them really, really happy, and you'll hear back from them. So pick somebody and then pick somebody else tomorrow and do the same thing, and tomorrow, and build on that and get that network kind of going. Because one of the best things we have for our mental health is our network of friends around us. We can't see them physically these days, but even that online contact is the best thing we can have these days. So use that as much as you can. Really helps people. It lifts up their burden during the day. Now, there's some other things to do for this lockdown thing when the whole loneliness things happen. So go on your walk today and make it your goal to just say hello to somebody you don't know. Now, of course, pick somebody very, very safe and very careful. Don't pick the wrong person to say hello to. But pick somebody who looks that you can say hello to them and that they say hello back and keep going. But don't pick somebody who starts stalking you and following you. Pick the right kind of person, you know. So pick that person, say hello to them, they'll say hello back to you, and you'll feel good. Say you're in a strange place sometimes, strange city or strange town, and you don't know the place, and somebody passes by and just says, hello, how are you? You feel better in yourself from that. That's how this oxytocin, this kind of thing, hits people, that you feel happier and better in yourself. And they feel good, you feel good. If we all do that every single day, we can lift the mood greatly from doing these things. Now, there's some more tips for you about the whole COVID thing, about keeping contact with people, and the whole loneliness epidemic. I hope they've helped. I will do some more stuff in the future with you. And I'm here in the library doing all sorts of things regularly. You hear me doing some more videos and various things for you. And I've had previous stuff on relaxation and on sleep. Use those things as well to help you to sleep, because sleep's so important as well, as I keep harping on about. And getting off that phone sometimes and just having time just for yourself and for somebody else is important during the day. Okay, hope that's helped for you. I'll do some further stuff for you. In the meantime, stay well and stay happy. This is Paul Marsden, and we'll talk again very, very soon. Take care of yourselves.